Good evening, family. Hey, how you doing today? It was good seeing everybody this morning. Wait for a few people to come in before I get started. But like I said, I was gonna do something tonight regarding myself. Hi, Alluring Eyes. I'm gonna read as much of this as I can. As you could probably see the title, it says Uncovered Me Losing to Win. That's my book, the name of my book. And for those that haven't seen it, this is the back of the book. This is the front of it. And my spirit was saying to start at the beginning. It's where it all started from. Hey, who is this? Eureka, Tony, Karen. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read as much as I can. Because, you know, like I always say, you can't heal from what you're not willing to face. And out of everything that I went through in my life, I think the hardest parts that I walked through was the love I had for my mother and her not knowing how to love me and my two children. Those are probably the hardest pieces that I'll probably be dealing with for the rest of my life. You know, my mother's no longer here. But I'm going to start this off. Like I said, Uncovered Me Losing to Win. Chapter 2 of my book is called A Painful Arrival. And it was called, the subtitle is called Unwanted Baby. As the story goes, I was told I was conceived as a result of rape. As I look back over my life, I realized that this was perhaps the most profound and significant shovel of dirt tossed on top of my soul. I believe that the torment that guided my mother's own soul my own soul was passed to me, her unborn child, while I was still in her womb. It's funny how we can understand that a mother is a channel for her unborn child's physical needs, what she eats, drinks, smokes, etc. But we fail to recognize that a mother's emotional poisons have just as much of a chance of passing through the unborn child as any other. Hey, sister. Hi, Paulette. Who else is in here? Love you. I'm trying to read this. You know, this one's hard for me, but you know, I gotta read it. Whew. I call this the womb effect. Before birth, my soul was affected by the demons that tormented my mother and would not only continue to torment her, but would also manifest themselves later in my life in almost identical ways. Hi, Ricky. Hi, Lori. I'm read as much as this as I can, you guys. You know, you got to get the book once the book is republished again, because it's deep, and some of us daughters and sons know this pain very well. You know, not everybody have this type of relationship, and I would hate for people to have this type of relationship with their mother. But almost as suddenly and violently as my conception, my mother passed out at work, completely unaware that this fall would cause her was caused by the seed of her, as I stated before, her rapist, because that's what I was told. Yes, my mother had no idea or no desire to know that she was pregnant until that fateful day. Feeling victimized twice, first by rape, or whatever that was, and then by the seed of the rapist, my mother's first instinct was to give me up for adoption. I would be a tearful, sublimic reminder of her torment. In all truth, Mama struggled to love or show any affection for her offspring of her alleged attacker. Emotionally and mentally, Emotionally and mentally, my mother was serving a life sentence of pain. She chose not to give me up for adoption, but having a few resources and no support and no professional support, raising the offspring of her nightmare would prove to be more than she could bear. Okay. There is only one thing worse than being rejected by others as a child, and that it will be rejected by your own mother. Nature can prepare us for what we can see. Nurture provides us with tools for love, bonding, and trust. Anyone sent out into a world without these three instincts is a walking time bomb, waiting for the right moment, the right circumstances, and the right person to go off. I gotta stop every little second, y'all, because it's just glory to your name, Jesus. Oh. I realize that imperfect beginnings and even middles are not all the uncommon. My mother is not the first, and unfortunately won't be the last victim of rape or an unhealthy parent. The point is that too many folks psychological psychological oh, I can't even say this word, psychological educators and even churches misunderstand the impact of having a parent who is presently physically but absent emotionally. The outer appearance is often mistaken for love, care, and a healthy family. My mother took care of me physically, but she was emotionally bankrupt and incapable of making love deposits of any meaningful kind. I'm on live. Yeah, what's going on? Hey, what's up? I had no idea who my father was, and I rather never know anything about him growing up. And I never knew anything about him growing up. My father and the incident that resulted in my birth would remain a family secret for some years. As far as I knew, and as far as I was concerned, I had one parent, and any talk of a seed donor was off limits. I'm listening to you, Ravonda. Okay. Between the secrets, the lies, and the denial, the eventual the eventual storm that would rip through our lives could have been a forecast. Denial and silence would be just a few of the cocktails that my mother used to numb her pain. Pursued by her own demons, she would actually eventually lose all sense of self and any sense of responsibility for a child that she emotionally loved to hate. The demon base the demon basement, as I look to call it, in a place of constant mental torment became y'all, this is hard to read. I wish I had somebody else that could read this. Whew. Oh, God. Okay. And because of the blinding darkness, a way of escape is neither visibly apparent nor emotionally clear. Victims of the basement are tragedies of pain. Once lost, many never return, not without help from above. Turn my fan on. The emotional detachment is a distorted bond between my mother and me. Eventually took her down to her emotional basement and soon afterward pulled me down as well. It's right here. Even worse, the poison of self-hate and self-destruction fueled by my love-hate relationship between my mother and I would not only terrorize my own life, but ultimately the lives of my own children as well. I don't know if I can do this, y'all. Whew. Oh, glory. I fell between the cracks created by my emotional bombs that destroyed the very foundation of self-esteem, self-respect, and self-love. An unnatural bond between a child and a mother from experience can only be compared to pouring sugar in a gas tank. I am not faulting anyone, but the sad truth for many children headed for destruction is that most people aren't oblivious to their pain, indifferent toward their symptoms, and deaf toward their pleas for help. Okay, I gotta stop for 1 second. I know, I know, I know, I know. Okay, we're gonna skip down. A brush with death. The most vivid depiction of the mental and emotional separation that defined the relationship between my mother and I is revealed in my brush with death as an infant, as told to me by family members and my mother. My mother laid emotionally on the bed as I fell on the floor and rolled under the bed. She snatched me by the arm aggressively, and I lost my breath. Emotionally drunk and mental paralyzed, my mother froze with indifference at my struggle for breath. Instinctively or desperately, I don't know, but my mother finally called out to her sister for help, unable to summon the emotional or mental strength within herself to save her child. My mother did as she would do many more times in life. She watched me die. Glory to your name, Jesus. Glory to your name. What I will do, family, if I can't get all of this out, I will paste this on my page for you to read it. Thankfully, my auntie rushed in to my aid. Afterward, my aunt placed me on my mother's chest and said, here's your baby. This is your daughter. My mother, deeply depressed, emotionally numb, and nearly lifeless, couldn't respond. Glory to your name, Jesus. Glory to your name, Jesus. Okay. The missing bond. My mother was not an affectionate person, to say the least, although it appears she had some type of bond with my sister. Mama was good about giving us material things, though, so I guess you can say that we were well dressed. That's probably why. Oh, God. This problem of dressing up pain would define our existence in more ways than one. Despite my outer appearance, I was naked and bleeding on the inside. What I wanted more than any gift, more than life itself. Woo, y'all, I don't know if I could do this. Woo, I don't know if I could do this. Woo. I will, Rhonda. I've never read this out loud. I wrote it. I never, but reading it out loud and reading about something that I could never see myself doing to my child, but reading it about me, maybe I should have did this tonight. Okay. I'm so sorry, you guys. Whew. But this is where the root is. This is where the healing got to take place for me, because this is the root of everything. This is that root that I'll be talking about, which shapes your life, the beginning of your life. Wherever that wound is that you have, it shapes your life. Wow. But I want the root to die. That's why I'm exposing it. It's time for me to... It's time for me to live. This stuff been going on from the womb. But it's time for me to live. I don't care about crying in front of you guys. Okay, I'm going to go back here and go. Okay. The bond with my mother was missing, and it could never be filled in a natural way because she was incapable of giving me what she didn't have. And the fact that I didn't know who my father was made it even harder. I'm going to go back up here where I was before because I have to be able to say that. Oh, God. Wait a minute, it was a part that I couldn't say. Okay, here it goes right here. Despite my outer appearance, I was naked and bleeding on the inside. What I wanted more than any gift, more than any life itself, was for my mother to love me. If the size of my emotional scar is any indication, I lived to learn all too well that love does have something to do with it. Oh, glory to your name, Father God. Amen. 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 Oh, God, y'all. Whew. Eventually, I would learn to accept this reality or reality. I mean, our reality. I learned to live with it like emotional cancer. Oh, my goodness, 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 goodness. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay. 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 I'm going to keep going, you guys. Without knowing or understanding natural affection, the call of the wild would eventually reach my my itching ears. I began to look for love and acceptance in all the wrong places. It would be like, it would be years before I would learn my truths about love. One of the undeniable truths that I will carry with me forever is that a wounded heart cannot find a healthy relationship no more than a blind man can tell what color you are. Being in emotional basement is not the time or the place to look for love. Nothing in the dark is really what it appears to be. Being in an emotional basement, oh, okay, not there. Darkness is a dungeon of love, and the dungeon can only attract a hold those who are in similar situations. I am amazed still to this day at the ability of so many, wait a minute, ability of so many love God without loving themselves. Okay, let me say that again, because I am amazed still to this day at the ability of so many to love God without loving themselves. Self love is the, whew, my God, you guys. Self love is the I can't say these words right now. Prerequisite to love anyone or anything. What we learn, I need this to be over, family, but it's so much more. What we learn about life and through life forms the basis for our love, expectation, our objectives, and ultimately what we allow ourselves to accept. An emotional, dehydrated child or a love-starved child is a setup for a life of misery. Not that there aren't many different types of childhood traps that turn into adult pits, but in my experience, love deprivation in the formative years causes incomprehensible damage. The Bible teaches that the greatest gift of us is love. And I can only truly understand why God will proclaim love as being the most powerful. Love, perhaps, is one emotion that is capable of both killing and healing with the same degree of emotion. The type of killing that I'm referring to is of the soul. Whew, y'all, this is too much tonight. What did I do? The ensuing years brought with them enough emotional dirt and shame to fill an entire swimming pool. I was, at best, an emotional cripple. Love dehydration soon turned into love addiction, a desperation a desperate addiction that sucked me into a pathological dungeon as violent and numbing as any crack I've ever smoked. That, coupled with tragic yet unavoidable perverted desires for affection, created an emotional prison from which only God could ultimately free me. I'm gonna stop right there, you guys. I'm gonna have to copy and paste this for y'all. I'm giving it away for free. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so taking pause. Oh, hold on one second, family. Hold on one second. I didn't know what I was doing tonight. Woo! God knows, though. Oh. All right, family, here I come. Boy, you just naked, Stephanie. You just telling it all. Just putting yourself all the way out there. Okay. Where was I at? Okay, emotional. The Bible teaches us. Okay. Okay, I'm right here. The only thing I can remember liking about myself as a child is that I could sing, a talent that seemed to run in the family. Both my mother and my aunt sang in church choirs. Nobody acknowledged my talent in this area. Well, maybe I would say that no one nurtured my gift, so neither did I. The one thing about feeling like garbage is that it teaches others how to treat you. They say I can sing, and I know I can sing, but at the same time, I don't believe it. Crazy. To this day, I don't have a lot of confidence about my singing ability, although it definitely is a joyful part of my life. Singing is a survival tool, a coping mechanism for me. It is a talent that I appreciate, and I know it was meant for times I wanted to escape from my struggle. I used it to encourage myself. It didn't help that my sister and cousins constantly teased me and ridiculed me for being a product of rape. Each cutting comment added to the abuse and penetrated my soul like a hot knife. Ha ha, your daddy is a rapist, they would taunt. I was too young to fully understand the effect of their evil words, and I acknowledged and I unwillingly received it into my spirit as a sense of dirtiness and shame. I know now that it is not what people call you, is what we answer to that causes us the most damage. Without a sense of self-worth, you are destined to be treated cheaply emotionally. Nobody will treat you better than you love yourself. And for me, that meant being treated like shit and loving it. Wow. Without a sense of self-worth, you are destined to be treated cheaply emotionally. Nobody will treat you better. Oh, I already read that part. When you are full of shame, you tend to walk with your head down. You isolate yourself, but secretly long to be noticed. I can't tell you how badly I wish that someone would notice me, give me some unsolicited attention, and treat me the way I eventually learned will never happen as long as you live in an emotional basement. Long before this lesson would be learned, anger, bitterness, rage welled up inside of me like a well shaken Coke bottle. Simply put, I needed validation that I was loved, accepted, that I mattered, and that I was hell bent on getting my love by whatever means necessary. I look back now and think, what a basic need. But at the time in my life, no one was healthy enough to give anything more than perverted versions. I need to see something. I'm gonna finish this paragraph, and I'm gonna finish it off because I'm not. Yeah, this is a long one. Even later, when I developed an awareness of what I needed, fears always stopped me from receiving it. I was afraid of being rejected, afraid I'd lose the scant bit of acceptance I did have, and believed I couldn't live without. I lived in the middle of abandonment and rejection. These two realities seemed to bend together in a toxic mix that began to play out in ways that would put me on a collision course with pure hell. I became a people pleaser. I did whatever it took to be accepted, buying friendships, allowing people to hurt me, and worse, silently giving people permission to abuse me. I'm going to stop right there, family. Where's something? I'm going to stop right there. That's all I got for the night, y'all. I can't do no more. This was crazy. I didn't even realize what I was opening up. But this is my story. This is my truth. And y'all know I don't care about breaking down in front of people. But I'm going to stop right there. This is the root. This is the root. This is the root. But thank God that it made me a good person. A person with a heart. A person that loves. A person that wants to love. That wants to learn how to love healthy. That doesn't want nobody to go through what I went through. And that's just who I am. That's my makeup. You know, a lot of people don't know me. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover. You got to open it up and read it. You know, and it ain't no pity thing because it made me strong. It made me be able to walk through some stuff of losing my children without, you know, really having to commit myself into the psych ward. You know, it created a beautiful person. And I'm learning, I've been learning for some years now, to not just cover up the outside of me, because my outer appearance was always had to be on point. Always. I don't care how messed up I was on the inside. But that's so irrelevant to me these days. You know, that's why I come on here like this. And you know, I can also come on here fly. You know, look at my pictures. I mean, I know how to do that well. But healing from the place of where it began, I was always afraid of that, because I have to accept that this was my life and that I didn't get to have the type of mother and daughter relationship with my mother that I always desired. But it's my life, and I accept it now, you know. So I said I got to dig the root out, you know, and what's helping me keep moving these days is, you know, having the mothers on the live that have walk through the pain of losing a child, you know, because I couldn't even get to the place of where I'm telling you my story right now out of my mouth. You know, you can read the book all day, but me speaking it out to you, that was hard. That was hard. That was hard to do. But I know that God has taken me somewhere that I've never been, and I'm willing to expose myself while He's doing what He's doing inside of me. You know, I missed church today, and I had got a call from my sister, and she was like, "He's talking to you right now." And it was funny what she said to me. Where is it at? He said, this was a word that you could, that you can have. No, you can, this was your word. Can you handle the process of isolation? I've been in isolation for 3 years, and many years prior to that, because people always hear me say, I don't do chicks, I don't do all that mess. And I've been that person for so many years. You know, I have like one friend at a time that I'm comfortable with, and I'm trying to get out that box now. You know, you can be sitting in a place with a whole bunch of people and they don't know how you feel. And I've always felt awkward. But one good thing I knew how to do is do things for people that even if it was uncomfortable for me, or I didn't want to do it for love, you know, and I don't have to do that today. I don't have to do that. I can stand alone. And this isolation place that I've been in for these last 3 years since my daughter has been hard but necessary, because I had to really depend on God even while I was angry with Him. Even when I couldn't talk to Him, He was still here, right here with me. And it was necessary for me to be where I am today and getting up, you know. I got my other Arthur page, and I don't know what's going on over there, but I'm getting like, today I woke up, I had 200 and something people asking to be my friend. That was supposed to be my personal page. It has turned into this page. And you know, I like, does somebody have my picture in a meat market or something? Because it's men. And I'm like, I'm ready to turn the messenger off, because I'm not trying to date nobody. I ain't dateable right now. You know, I'm trying to get up, you know, and that has always been my flaw, getting in these bad relationships. And I can't do that to myself no more. And I know that even right there is growth for me, because it's lonely. It's lonely. It's lonely. I'm lonely a whole lot. You know, lives is going on for people. Like my girls are saying every time they come on here, you know, it's hard. You know, you feel like you're by yourself a lot of times when you're grieving, and when you're, man, it's hard, you know. And I've been grieving all my life. When I look at this, I've been grieving for a long time. I've been grieving for a long time. But it's time for me to start healing and facing those things that have been stuck down there, just causing all of these different types of behaviors I have, and different choices that I make, desperate choices, and you know, all that stuff, you know. So I know I'm in a good place. I know I'm in a good place now. I know God is doing this. God is doing this. This is called real surgery right here. This is called pruning, crushing, everything. But what comes out of that, shining star, you know, a diamond. And I'm ready. You know, the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. You know, I always used to say is I don't want to be plucked out too soon, and then I limp and die. I want God to pull me out when it's His time for me to come out. So I feel honored to share with you guys. I love you, family. You know, when I was screaming all these years, and I feel like nobody could hear me, people was judging me, thinking I'm crazy. But today, I don't care what nobody think. Because some folks couldn't handle one day in these shoes, and I would want you to, you know. And God is good, you know. I know this is somebody else's story that don't have the courage to even write it on a piece of paper. You know, one of my sister girls, I mean, I didn't come everybody's big sister this last month. And, man, my little Bella, you know, she was like, I'm about to write. And I said, you know, writing is that first part of the healing process. Right. You know, she's about to write and her story is going to be told somewhere. And, you know, she was like, you know, thank you. You know, thank you, big sister. And I'm honored that even in my mess, even in my brokenness, somebody else is getting the courage so that they can fly. So if my purpose is nothing else but to encourage, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to get out of here because I need to well before God right now. And I love you, family. And I'm going to finish that chapter. I don't have it yet where I can copy because it's on my hard drive that I have to move over to the computer so that I can get all of my documents off because my whole life is on this hard drive. And as soon as I get this computer and I can dump it, I can copy and paste this. And better yet, if you want the chapter, you know, I'll give it away for free. I can inbox it, copy and paste and inbox it to you as well. So I love you, family. I'll see you in the morning. But maybe that's why I was feeling the way I've been feeling lately, because I needed to get this out. I need to go ahead and start exposing that. Oh my God, I need to start exposing this deep-rooted pain that I'm being healed from. You know, all I can say is when God get through with me, y'all better watch out because I'm going to be a bad mama jamma. But God, family, I love you. God bless. I hope somebody was encouraged. I'm sorry my reading was just all over the place. But that ain't no easy stuff to read about yourself. So I love you, family, and I will see you in the AM. God bless. Muha.